Greetings from all around the 7 kingdoms, my friends, and welcome to my Game of Thrones Season 6, Episode 3, Oathbreaker episode review. So we start off at the wall with Davos being completely stunned by Jon Snow's resurrection. Melisandre comes into the room, she can't believe it either. They ask him if he remembers anything, and he does. So now we know that the traitors on the wall will pay a dear price, which we do see them pay by the end of the episode, but we'll get there in a bit. After that, we go into the boat where Samwell Tarly is with Gilly and her baby going into Old Town. They have an interesting conversation about not going to Old Town after all and going into Samwell Tarly's home. They talk about his father being a mean man and a bad man who never treated his son right, but his mother and sister were always good to him, so he's sure they're going to be good to Gilly's baby. Then comes one of my favorite scenes in this whole episode, and that is Brans Vision, and it's only one of my favorite scenes because it was a bait. We see a young version of Ned Stark and a young version of Howland Reed going into the Tower of Joy and facing off Sir Arthur Dayne and his men trying to get into the tower where they don't know what's in it, but they know some things, and there's something connecting Rhaegar and the usurper Robert Baratheon. They kill off Sir Arthur Dayne's man, and after that it's only Ned Stark and Sir Arthur Dayne. Sir Arthur Dayne is kicking Stark's ass, but behind his back comes Howland Reed stabbing him with a sword, and Ned just finishes Sir Arthur Dayne off. He walks into the tower, he's climbing the first steps, and Bran calls for him. And somehow Ned Stark can hear him, but then he cannot see him. He doesn't know what's going on. He is nervous. He hears a scream. He goes up there, and the three-eyed raven stops Bran from going after him, and Bran returns to the real world. And then he has a discussion with the three-eyed raven. He doesn't want to be in the real world anymore. He doesn't want to be a cripple, but the three-eyed raven says Bran must learn everything before he leaves this place. Now, I never thought of this before, but after seeing this scene and hearing this dialogue, I'm guessing that Bran will learn how to fly, and he will be a kind of new septon, a new priest of some new faith come the end of Game of Thrones. A theory I never had even considered, but now seems the more likely one. We see Daenerys reaching via Stothrock and being confronted by the other widows. They're telling her what's going to happen to her now. They're telling her that what happened to her happened to them. They are all in the same place for the same purpose. They are all Cal's widows, and Daenerys is going to have to accept her destiny. It's a little scene that I could have done without. I think it's interesting to keep going with the story of Daenerys, not leaving her behind, because she's one of the most important characters. So as far as I didn't care for that scene, I understand why it was inserted into this episode. Then we go into Meereen, where we see Tyrion, Missandei, and Grey Worm trying to have a conversation, and Tyrion just spouts out knowledge once again, and he's the most hilarious part of this episode. He's telling how once a great man told that the story of the world is the sharing of great stories, and Missandei just asks, "Who said that?" And he answers, "Me. Just now." I thought it was hilarious. I cracked myself up laughing. And then we transit into Varys trying to bribe the prostitute that killed an Unsullied in the first episode of season 5. And we find out that she has a son, and Varys bribes her with having her and her son, who we didn't know she had, safe passage into Pentos. And she does get bribed. She reveals who is funding the Sons of the Harpy, and it's all the other cities around Meereen in which Daenerys and her army have been before. So we know that these guys, hating Daenerys before she left, still hate her and are looking for payback. We then go into King's Landing, and we have two separate scenes. First, we see Qyburn bribing Varys' former spiders, the little children of King's Landing, and he bribes them with candy. But then Sir Robert Strong, aka Gregor Clegane, who we find out that is Gregor Clegane in this episode. I'm glad they did not make this a big reveal, because everyone knew it was Gregor Clegane. Then Cersei and Jaime come in as well, and Jaime doesn't trust Gregor Clegane in the state that he's in, but Qyburn tells him it's fine. He doesn't need to worry. He's an obedient monster, if you will, and he will obey the Queen's orders. They go into the small council of the Queen. They interrupt. The conversation there's there, and the Queen of Thorns, Olenna Tyrell, gives Cersei a bigger burn than Stannis gave Shireen last season, telling her she was speaking about the Queen, but not Cersei, Marjorie. We have a confrontation between Tommen, who's still a bad actor, and the High Septon, and he tells the King that the love of the mother comes from the High Mother above, one of the 7 gods, and that Tywin Lannister, whether he knew it or not, he did obey the gods and did their bidding. Tommen is still a bad actor, so he doesn't know how to answer this, and I thought this was a really interesting scene. As much as I'm telling you that Tommen is a bad actor, this was an improvement from at least last week. I don't know if it was how he worked with Jonathan Pryce, but I thought it was an improvement on his acting. Still bad, though an improvement. We then see the progressing of Aria's training. She's in the house right now. She's being trained by the girl who used to beat her up in the street, but now she confronts her, telling her the truth, telling her a story about her list, about the people she killed, about the people she left off the list because they were eventually killed. Aria tells her of her brothers. She has 4. No, she has 3 and a half brother. They could all be dead by now by all she knows, and then we see the progressing in her fighting skills as much as she is blind. She tells her constantly she's no one. She finally blocks an attack, and Jaqen H'ghar, who is not Jaqen H'ghar, gives her what I suspect is milk of the poppy, telling her he will give her her eyes back. She drinks it and she gets her eyes back. She's finally no one. I love this scene. I always loved Aria's story. It's one of my favorite story arcs in the book. It was kind of being boring these past few weeks since the first episode, but this one was an improvement. We go into the most frustrating scene in this episode, and it is Winterfell, where Ramsay Bolton is delivered Osha and Rickon Stark, and the bastards killed the direwolf. Why do you fucking have to kill all the direwolves all the fucking time? I hate it. I hate that Ramsay Bolton has Rickon. I hate that he has Osha, and I hate that he got the direwolf killed. I hate it, and I don't know right now how Osha and Rickon will get out of this situation. I just don't. In the last scene of this episode, we go back to the wall and we have Jon Snow hanging 4 of his main betrayers, 2 of them being Alliser Thorne and that little fucking bastard Holly, and I love this shot. Look at this. Look at this. Ollie just looking at Jon Snow with that face full of hate, and he's ready to die. Jon Snow picks up Longclaw, which is right here, and he cuts the rope, and the 4 men are hanged. Sir Alliser Thorne is hanged. Ollie is hanged, and I love this shot. Look at these 4 bastards hanging on their ropes. I love that Ollie fucking died. I love that Sir Alliser Thorne fucking died. He was just in Houdini and Doyle this past week. I loved watching that episode, and now he's fucking dead. He's gone. And the most shocking thing comes after that, when Jon Snow takes off his coat, gives it to Ed, and he leaves the wall saying his watch is over. Best episode of the season so far, if you ask me. The most balanced one, the most interesting in all its scenes, in all of the stories it's telling in this single episode. My favorite by far in season 6. Oathbreaker is a fantastic episode, and I totally recommend it. My giveaway is still going until my X-Men Apocalypse Q&A, so hashtag in the comments below while you tell me what you thought of this episode of Game of Thrones. Was it your favorite? Was it your least favorite? What are you expecting for next week's episode? And what are you expecting to the rest of the season? Where do you expect Jon Snow to go? Do you agree with my theory about Bran being a kind of Septon in the future? Let me know all of your theories in the comments below and your reading of the season thus far. There's links for my Facebook and my Instagram in the description below. Go stalk me on the internet and click the little subscribe button below the video box if you haven't yet. Get updated on all my videos when they come out. I'll leave a link to my previous video right here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed once again this Game of Thrones weekly review, and again, let me know your thoughts. Over here you can click to watch my Hologram for the King movie review, and there's also reviews for Captain America Civil War, there's spoilers reviews, and there's a second discussion video on this channel in which we discuss the Power Rangers new look for the 2017 movie. Let me know all your thoughts on all those videos. Of course, I'll see you guys in the next review. Cheers.